There we go. Hi, it's me, Camila Rose. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Well, there's been a lot that's been going on. If you are in the US, then we are past our election. And we see how that went. We're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about this full moon in Taurus that is happening apparently today. And we're going to talk about all the different astrological aspects that are going on and some of the ones that are coming up, such as Aquarius moving into, or Pluto moving into Aquarius. Now, that's not happening till the 19th, so I'll only chit chat about that the tiniest of bits. I'm going to make a whole video that's all about the Pluto moving into Aquarius and what that energy is going to look like. But if you're excited for a time where you can just indulge in all of the most delicious, sensual things, get your body right, get your mind right, get into that whole Empress and that whole Venus vibe, then I'll see you in just a little bit. When the moon is in Taurus, that means that our emotions are going to be reflecting to ourselves in a Taurus-like energy. So what's Taurus all about? I feel like I've talked about Taurus, and if I haven't, I know I've talked about Venus quite a bit. I love Venus and I love Taurus. And so this energy is going to be all about fixed Earth, right? So we're taking that really kind of active, passionate, fiery cardinal Aries energy, and now we're getting to that space where it's like, it's great, I love that, but let's bring that down a little bit. Let's figure out how to make this more sustainable. Let's figure out how to make this something that can last, but let's also make this a little bit more comfortable for all of us within. Like, how do we find some peace within our bodies? How do we get and gather information externally from around us so that we can understand? We have the I am, and then we have the I have. So what do you have and how do you know it? Well, you're able to use your senses in order to figure out information. So you're just taking that information in and figuring out, how does it make you feel? The things that make you feel more comfortable, you're going to want more of. And the things that are not so comfortable, you're hopefully going to move away from. Now, oftentimes we do experience forms of trauma or abuse, and these can start to affect how we are able to engage, what are spaces we need to be staying in and what are spaces we need to be leaving. But we're going to set that to the side for just a little bit, and we're going to talk about how Taurus is all about engaging the senses and knowing what it is that we have tangibly through what it is we can feel, through what we can see, smell, taste, and sound. Now, there's other senses that go on, like the kind that keep our balance and that help us with our heart rate and that let us know what our bodily functions and needs are. But we're not also going to talk about those in this video as well. But just know that they're there and that they are also helping us understand our placement in the world. And that's also really important when it comes to a Taurus Venetian state of balance, right? Because if your sense of balance is off, and maybe you're just, you bump into things, maybe you don't really like a lot of activity, maybe you like a lot of pressure, that's going to affect how you show up in the world, and it's going to affect how you're feeling. So we're going to take all of that Taurus energy, and then we're going to pair it with those moon energies. But it's not just the moon. We have Uranus. Uranus has been moving through Taurus for forever, it feels like now. And because of that, there's been a lot of changes in how we look at the idea of what we have, what we own, what we understand, and how we interact with the world around us, and what makes us feel comfortable, what makes us feel balanced. And so we've seen a lot of changes that have gone on with the economic scene. We've seen a lot of changes happening in how we live our lives. We had the pandemic. We've had many different presidents in the United States. We've had changes that have happened globally. We've had a lot of climate change that has happened. And all of these have been around this earthly, fixed earth senses and how we engage with the world, right? And they've been radical, unexpected, tearing things down, opening up spaces for new things to be birthed and reborn. And so in following that fashion, when Uranus finally moves out of Taurus and into Gemini, we're going to be not only just taking in information, we're going to be trying to understand it. And that's where that Gemini part comes in. Taurus is all about the instincts. It's all about that. Think of the bull who's just engaging with the world around it. It's, you have the red flags where they do the bull runs and the races and the fights and things, and they see that red, and they are conditioned to like get into this rage, and then they go and they charge, or they run through the roads and people run away from them. Like, think of the way that we engage with the bull. Think of historically how bulls have shown up within mythology and within fairy tales, within our overall history, and what the bulls have represented then. Think of the bull of Wall Street. Think of the there's just so many different spaces where we find a bull market within Wall Street, within stocks and exchanges and things like that, when we talk about our finances. So all of those things can be related to this idea of this sometimes getting stuck, or sometimes feeling this need to rush, or sometimes feeling this need to try to like push and engage and force something to happen, because there's that rigidity around this fixed energy and this very like stable, trying to find a sense of self energy. So when the moon is over in Taurus, we're going to be having that happening with our emotions. We're really going to be looking for comfort. We're going to be looking for things that make us feel safe. We're going to be looking for long-term commitments and investments, things that we can do to ensure that we have some form of physical and emotional peace going forward. So this is a really great time for you to make sure that you are cooking really nice food for yourself, making things that are really pretty, creating a space where you feel really comfortable, maybe assessing the things that you realize maybe don't have the same values as you do, and it's time for you to allow those things to either pass on, or for you to reevaluate what your values are. Venus is always going to be looking at the value of things. And so in Taurus, we're looking again, we talk a lot about values in relation to finances, to the things that we have in our homes, our cars, the things that we think are important. And so we assign value to them. And a lot of times we've come from that space of loss, or the harder it is to get something, the more valuable it is. But really, this is a time to shift our mindset from the things that are actually more readily available to us are more valuable. They are abundant. They are that Venetian Empress energy of, I can create as much as I desire. There is enough for everyone, as much as what I need. I'm able to tap into this just source of light and fire that luckily Aries was able to provide for us, and use that to create. I like to think often of volcanoes and how we literally make more earth when I talk about Taurus energy, because it's the fire of this like molten lava and their magma that turns into lava that comes up out of the earth around us, right from the core, and it breaks through, it breaks apart the earth that's around us. But there's this, and it's very destructive. You think of Aries energy that can be when it's not well thought out, or it doesn't have a lot of balance going on there, and it needs more of that Libra exchange. Aries energy is just bursting forth, and it just wants to live. It wants to go out. It wants to explore. It wants to experience life. And then you get this, there may be already people there. There may be space there. The earth at least is being completely redone. The animals there may lose their lives. People may be able to escape. They may not. The space may be inhabitable for some time. It may not. But you get this new, really fertile soil that is born from this, that has got these wonderful healing effects. It's got this beautiful soil to grow things in. It may be that you needed this level of heat to burst open these seeds that haven't grown forever. So it is this like creation of life that comes here, and we get literally new earth. So while, yes, that Aries energy might have been very destructive for the last couple of, for the last bit of time, we've had that North Node in Aries, we've had that eclipse in Aries. Aries has kind of really been doing its thing, and it's been kind of like the volcano, coming in and knocking a lot of things down, unexpectedly destroying things, redoing a lot of the ways that we've been living our lives. And we've been forced to kind of face this idea of I am and who we are. But from that, hopefully, you've been able to find the fertile soil to begin to either crack open the seeds or to bury the seeds, to create a new space and this new understanding of who you are and to look at what you have and what's available to you and how you can use that to create even more of what it is that you're looking for. So that's kind of some of the opportunities that are coming up for us with this full moon in Taurus. I'm very excited about it. There's a lot of squared energy going on with the full moon in Taurus. The sun in Scorpio in opposition to the moon in Uranus in Taurus, which I've talked about a little bit with that Scorpio sun though. That is a time of going in really deeply, and it is the opposition that we know of. You know, Taurus is that fixed earth, and then we have that fixed water with Scorpio. And so we have these kind of very uncomfortable spaces for the water, maybe not so much for the earth. The earth would probably very much so enjoy being just very stable and calm. That's why we got a little bit of that shakeup from the Aries energy. But we get that dance between Aries and Taurus, and then Libra and Scorpio, with that Venus, Mars and Venus, and then Venus and Mars. And so when we have that Scorpio energy, we're looking at this idea of Mars, and then we're looking at its traditional ruler as Mars, and then we're looking at its modern ruler as Pluto. So it is that energy of this fiery need to be able to defend oneself, to be able to figure out what does survival look like for me? How is it that I go about being brave enough and having enough courage to go deep within my emotional self, to be able to figure out what my needs are, and be able to figure out what needs to end and what needs to be reborn, and what needs do I need to nurture a little bit more. And so then that's when we get into that Pluto energy of that death, life, and rebirth, because we get into that space of what do I need to release. The tarot card for Scorpio is the death card, and then we get the Tower moments where it seems like we get these revelations and maybe things falling apart, but this need to have the stability of the Tower. So like the physical form that we have, and then being struck by lightning, and then having the individuals fall and having the yods fall around them, and the fiery energy of that, like the revelations that come from things falling apart around us, whether that is a literal physical death, an emotional death, a psychological or a mental cognitive, a way we're thinking about things ending, or that is the metaphoric sense of that, right? And so then we have, and that plays into this Mars energy when we're talking about this Aries, and Aries kind of coming in and bursting into the scene, ramming in, doing its thing. And then we have that dance though with that Venus in Taurus. And so that Venus in Taurus is like, it is the Tower, right? It is the earth that was used in us in our physical forms and are engaging with the world around us to build the Tower. And so at that point, we've gone through these other signs, and now we're kind of rounding back. We're at the Tower. We're in our physical form. We're looking at all the things that we have. We're looking at what we've inherited, and we're saying to ourselves, do I still need this? Is this still a part of my story? Is this something I want to keep as a part of my narrative? And it's time for us to really evaluate and have some awakenings around that topic. So you might realize that something you've spent your whole entire life building or aspiring to or feeling like you have to uphold, it's time for you to let that thing go. And so we move from that death to the Tower, from that awakening, and then to the Judgment card, which is ruled by Pluto. And we get that Pluto energy of like, okay, am I willing to go ahead and let this thing be done and to let go so I can transmute it or transform this into something new? It's time for a rebirth. A lot of times we'll look at that Phoenix energy when we get to that stage of Scorpio, in the having burned everything down and then now being reborn from the ashes and having something new, but the wisdom and the courage and the fiery excitement to help us fly off into that Sagittarius energy, which is all about the lived experience of exploration and looking at our faith and our belief systems and how we go about understanding and learning from the world around us and putting that into practice. Now, when we're looking at this energy of the Tower, our physical form, how do you feel? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling like you are having a difficult time sleeping, that you are developing a twitch, or that there's just this tension in your neck, in your body? I uploaded a body scan, but I'll see if I can upload this here. But it's time to take a breath. It's time to take a moment. With Aries and Libra, it's important to breathe. But with that Venus energy, we don't have that same, in Taurus, we don't have that same flow yet because we haven't quite gotten around to Libra, which is all about taking a breath. But we do have that space of finding peace within our bodies. And that's really important for you to do something somatic now. It's time for you to get into your body. So I recommend doing some form of movement, whatever movement is available to you. Getting in the shower, maybe doing a cold plunge. If you've really been having a difficult time and you're feeling really stressed, the best thing I can ever recommend is to go do a cold plunge, and it will wake you up and it will slam you back into your body. Go to a sauna, go somewhere swimming, go somewhere where you can be really comfortable and where you can nurture your body, okay? Whatever that looks like for you. If it's time for you to turn on the heater or get under your hot blanket, your heated blanket, if you need your weighted blanket, if you have a weighted stuffy, if you like having your partner be really close and hold you tight, whatever that looks like that helps you get into your physical form, do that, okay? Make sure you're eating something that's nurturing, that you can really connect to. Make sure that you are listening to things that you find to be calming and soothing. Attend a sound bath. Go out into nature and listen to nature. Go for a walk. Those types of things. Smells. Make sure that your space around you is scented or it has like a nice aroma to it. If you're needing to maybe clean up a little bit because you haven't been doing as much of that, make sure that at least you're like opening a window or something of that nature. Engage with all of your senses. Make your space pleasing to the eye. Do something that is beautiful, not only for you, but for the world around you. Let's take a look at some of this other energy that's coming up for us with this full moon. We have Jupiter in Gemini square Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. This has been a really interesting energy. It's been a lot of that issues going on with our communication, with our social media, with our being able to share information clearly, because we've had so much of our kind of gook going on, because it's time for us to really take a look at how we come to understand things, what we understand as truth, how we gather information. We're going to get more of that as Uranus moves through Gemini, and it's going to really revolutionize a lot of our communication systems. Whether social media makes it through this, whether the web as we know it and the internet as we know it makes it through this, we shall see. We've already seen that a lot of our economic systems and a lot of our physical systems, like things such as climate and the stuff of that nature, has gone through some revolutionary changes. Our systems of knowledge and information are also going to go through those same ones, and we're seeing the cracks in them now. The unwillingness to be able to express truth and honesty and reliance upon facts and experience, being able to be your own authority figure, having a lack of trust in communication from those who are supposed to be in positions of authority, feeling like the news is untrustworthy and things like that. Those are going to be the systems that are going to be redone and being reborn, hopefully, when Uranus moves through Gemini. And we're seeing the cracks in that now. Now we have this square going on here because I've talked a lot about Saturn and Neptune and Pisces, because Neptune has been all about the dreams and Saturn has been all about it's time to get real if you want to make those things actually happen. We're presented with choice after choice after choice, and where we see ourselves going, what we see coming forth from us, is all going to be dependent upon whether we can actually step up and make the choices to make our dreams actually come true. Then we have Venus in Capricorn square Neptune in Pisces. So Venus is in Capricorn. That is a totally different ballpark. Venus enjoys being in Capricorn. It likes the order. It likes the sense of knowing that things will be taken care of. It likes the light and the joy of Capricorn, which Capricorn doesn't usually get a lot of that energy, but it's very much so our light in the darkness as we enter into the darkest months of the year. And then when the nights are the longest, it is that tenacity to be able to survive. And so Venus, although it can be a little bit heavier here than what Venus would prefer, Venus can be very heavy and excited and well taken care of in Capricorn. But then we have that squared energy to Neptune and Pisces. So again, that very dreamy energy. So this is a very grounded, realistic, my values have to match what I need in order to survive, versus this very like dreamy, sometimes delusional, sometimes looking for an escape in order to get away from the overwhelm of the work that needs to be done in order to survive. Then we have Mercury in Sagittarius, square Saturn in Pisces. Mercury and Sag is having a ball. It's just enjoying itself. It is learning. It wants to go do all the things. It wants to go talk to all the people. It wants to go see all the stuff. It's traveling. It's like, oh, I have responsibilities. Who cares? It'll be fine. It'll work out. And it will work out. Mercury will be going retrograde, I believe, in the next week. So we're going to have some, kerfluffles there. So plan accordingly. But with that Mercury and Sag square Saturn and Pisces, this is a good space because this may give you the oomph, honestly, that you need to get up and actually start making those plans, having those conversations, doing the networking events, going out and living, saying, okay, maybe I can do it. It might give you that fire that you need in order to actually put some action behind some of these dreams that need to be followed up on. So here's where things go really great. We have Mars and Leo trine the Neptune and Pisces and the North Node in Aries. The Neptune and Pisces is so close to the end of Pisces energy that it is making it kind of show up in a trine, leaning more towards that Aries energy. And so we have that Leo energy, Mars in Leo. Mars is going to be going in its retrograde on December 6th. I've talked about this one quite a bit too, so just check out some of those videos on my channel. And so Mars and Leo here is really getting into this whole I am and giving a lot of that fire, a lot of that energy, a lot of that like bravado to this whole like who I am and feeling very confident about the decisions we're making. And then having that be trine is being supported by the North Node in Aries, which is saying that like step into your power, walk a new path, be who you are. Don't compromise for other people. And then having that paired with Neptune and Pisces, which is very much like, I will support you. Let's go for these big dreams. Let's make this thing happen, right? So they're all kind of pulling on each other. This could be a lot of like big head. If you're leaning in a really unhealthy direction, a lot of narcissism or sociopathy. And if you're leaning in a more healthy manner, it's just a lot of self-actualization and really getting into this space of like the hero child or the hero god, where we're going through this process of individuation and finding our own selves. And then lastly, we have Pluto in Capricorn trine Uranus and the moon in Taurus. And so this Capricorn energy and this Taurus energy, they're getting along just great. Innocence. I think, here's the thing. I think they're getting along great in the sense that they are happy about destroying the things that need to be let go of. And I think that they're, for lack of a better word, colluding and working together. They're pulling on each other and they're working together to say, Pluto is moving through Capricorn and it's like, all right, here's our last look at these systems, and the ones that are working, cool, and the ones that are not working, hope you're ready to let go of them, hope you're ready to get rid of them because they're going to just crumble. And then we have Uranus and Taurus, which is like this economic system, this current way of our life, this climate that we have currently going on. It's time for those things to start really changing it up. And then we have that moon in Taurus, which is like it's forcing you to face how you feel about these endings and about these changes, about the stuff that's going on right now. That's really what this is all about. It's like, how do I feel about this? And the way that you're really going to know is to understand how you feel within your body. Okay. And that's why it's really important to make sure that you're prioritizing your physical, mental, psychological, all those areas. Make sure you're taking care of yourself because this can be a very, very stressful time. And a lot of times when we hit those tower moments and we're getting into that Scorpio side of the relationship and the opposition between Scorpio and Taurus, the body breaks down. I myself was sick last week. There's a lot of, I've been hearing cases of walking pneumonia with the children. We have the, the bird flu. We have COVID. It's flu season. this is a time you really need to prioritize your physical health, okay? Really make sure you're taking care of yourself. Use every precaution that you possibly can. If you're feeling unwell, stay home. If you're open to wearing a mask, wear a mask. If you're feeling like it's time for you to go see the doctor, make sure you're going to see the doctor. Do the practical things that need to happen in order to make sure that you're maintaining your physical health and well-being. That is going to be of the utmost importance. And then for the long term, take a look at what are your habits and what are the things that you're doing on a daily basis to maintain your physical health, because those are going to be the things that actually build towards whether your tower crumbles or whether your tower can withstand the awakenings and the enlightenment and the moments of destruction that are coming to shake things up in order to create something new. All right, so that's it for our full moon in Taurus. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all later. We'll talk about the Pluto moving into Aquarius. We'll talk more about this Gemini energy. We'll talk more about Mars in Leo going retrograde, and we'll talk about all the things. I will see y'all later. I love you. Bye.